Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and today I'm going to be doing some watercoloring with some inks. First I need to stamp out my image for painting, and for this I'm using a mushroom from a old Hero Arts kit. I think this was end of 2018, this card kit. I don't subscribe to the Hero Arts kits, but I won this in a giveaway and haven't really used it a lot, but I thought it would work nicely for what I wanted to do today. The Hero Art Kit's stamps are not available outside of their kits, so unfortunately I won't be able to link to this particular mushroom, but I will have a look and see if I can find something similar that you could use instead. And of course you can do this technique with whatever image you like. For my painting I'm using some Hero Arts inks. This is one of their ink layering bundles, and the colours are Cocoa, Red Royal, Just Rust and Tangerine. I've just squished each of the ink pads onto a piece of packaging and spritzed with a little water, and then I'm using a very small paintbrush to paint the ink onto the image. Whilst I was talking about the kits, I did forget to mention that I have heat embossed this image, and I used Wow's Chocolate Caramel Pearl embossing powder for that, which has a nice shine to it. And heat embossing before watercolouring is a good way to keep your colours from running together too much. I don't do a lot of watercolouring and I am by no means an expert. I really feel like I don't know what I'm doing with watercolouring, so I kind of just approach it similarly to how I approach any other colouring and just try my best, basically, which is all you can really do with anything. So I am putting my shadow areas in first and then bringing the colour out as I go, and I find that works best for me. The shadows are mostly going towards the left hand side, and anywhere that anything is overlapping would obviously have a cast shadow. And this is how I normally do my light source. I have the light coming from the top right hand side most of the time, unless there is a particular light source in the image I am using. I'm not actually sure what these inks are. They don't say on the package whether they're dye inks or hybrid inks or what they are, and I found that they weren't moving a lot. They work well enough, but they stained the packaging quite a lot, and I did notice that the longer I was working on this, the more kind of tacky the ink was coming on the packaging that I'd smushed it onto. But it worked fine and I was happy with the result. I did off camera, because I didn't think I was going to use it, add even more water onto the leftover ink I had and squished it onto a snippet of watercolour card, and then I decided I actually would use that, so that's how I coloured up this little piece. And I'm going to add a heat emboss pattern onto that. I'm using the BFF background stamp by Catherine Pooler, and I'm going to heat emboss that with the same powder I had used for the mushroom. You may have noticed that I actually painted all around the edge of the mushroom with that cocoa ink, and that's just because I'm going to be die cutting this and I don't want the white edge around my mushroom, so I wanted to kind of tie it in with the rest of the colours I was using by going around it with that diluted cocoa ink. Whilst I'm heat embossing that, I will just remind you that this is one of the videos in my month-long celebration for having reached 2,000 subscribers and approaching my 30th birthday. There's a giveaway associated with this celebration and daily videos. Each of the videos you comment on increases your chance to win the mystery prize pack that I'm going to be giving away, and you can find the full details for that in the first video I shared this month. And there is a Rafflecopter link in the description box down below. That will be for every video, it will be in the description box, and you need to go there and let the Rafflecopter know that you have commented, because I will be drawing a winner from the Rafflecopter. I do double check and make sure you have actually commented if you tell Rafflecopter you have commented, and if your name gets drawn as a winner and you didn't do what you said you did, then unfortunately you won't be getting the prize, because someone who followed the rules should have the prize. Going back to my card, having heat embossed the strip, I started working out how I was going to assemble the card. My original plan was to have the strip kind of lifted up about an inch from the bottom of the card base, but I didn't like how it looked with the mushroom directly against it. So after a bit more fiddling, I decided I would put that pattern strip right down the bottom and have the mushroom kind of sitting on top of it. Then I needed to add a sentiment, and I decided to use one from the Colour Layering Mangrove stamp set, which says "You keep me grounded," and I thought that would work nicely with this. So I will be stamping and heat embossing that directly onto my card base. I use the other elements as a guide as to where I want to be placing it before I do that, and again I'm going to use the same embossing powder that I've used for everything else. And I am going to talk whilst I do that. I had a comment recently asking if I would tell a little bit about myself in these videos, and so I went onto my community tab and asked if anyone had any questions. So I will just answer, I guess, just one of those now. So if you have any more questions, do go over to the community tab and leave them there, and I will try to answer some of them in future videos. But for now, the first question I'm going to answer was, actually several people have asked how I started making cards. I've been making cards for coming up to 5 years now. I consider myself to have started at the beginning of 2016 when I handmade some thank you cards for Christmas presents, and then I made a 50th birthday card for my uncle, which is actually the very first card I posted over on my blog, and I recreated that card recently in a blog hop that was called The Power of Practice, and it was all about how we have developed as card makers over our time card making. I did actually make some cards prior to that because I made my wedding invitations and save the dates, and we got married. We've been married for 7 years now. Our anniversary was the middle of last month. If you think of that as my start date, I've been card making a lot longer, but properly I would say I started at the beginning of 2016. And I think that's going to inspire today's comment requirement for the giveaway. Rather than having a secret word today, I'm going to ask you to tell me how you got into card making or crafting, if you do that. Or if you're not a card maker yourself, maybe you could tell me what got you into watching card making videos, because if you're watching my channel, it would seem that you like to watch card making videos. So that's the requirement for today's comments. Just answer that question in the comments below, and I really look forward to hearing what you have to say and hearing your stories. Don't forget to hop over to the Rafflecopter after you've commented and let it know that you have done that to be in for a chance at the prize. So whilst I was rambling, I glued together my card. I used my MISTI to help me get that panel lined up and glued that and the mushroom into place. And to finish off the design, I did decide to bring in a peel-off from Love from Lizi. These are the Mirror Brown Pinstripe peel-offs, and I just used the narrowest one and went along the edge of my patterned panel with that. And here you can see the completed card, and it has some really lovely shine from that embossing powder. I think this might be a new favourite embossing powder of mine. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave your comment and visit the Rafflecopter. I'm going to be reminding you of that all month long, so I hope you don't get bored of it. Thank you for liking my videos, for subscribing, for commenting. You can find an accompanying blog post and all product links in the description box. A couple of other videos on screen if you'd like to see more from me straight away. And otherwise, I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!